Satire in George Orwell's Animal Farm. Animal Farm, published in 1945, is a satire on the 1917 Russian Revolution, known as the Bolshevik Revolution and its aftermath. Bolshevik is the name of a political party that started this 1917 revolution in order to establish communism in Russia. This novella, which means a short novel, is an allegory. By allegory, we mean a symbolic story in which animals, the animals of Animal Farm, play the roles of the Bolshevik revolutionaries. Here in this story, the animals represent the members of the Bolshevik party who started the revolution against the previous regime or empire. Here, the animals started their revolution against Mr. John, the human owner of the farm or the manor farm. Those animals overthrew the human owners of the farm, setting it up as a commune in which at first all animals are equal. At the beginning of the story, the animals were very happy by their revolution, thinking that by this revolution they have achieved a utopian society in which all will be equal and free. However, class and status disparities soon emerge, which means after the revolution, there became many class discrimination cases between the animals. For example, the pigs maintain higher status. For example, they maintain that they only have to eat apples and to drink milk before they exert mental effort, whereas other animals or the remaining animals are forbidden to eat apples and drink milk. The animals of Animal Farm begin with an attempt to form a utopian society separated from the tyranny of humans and established on the principle of equality and freedom for everyone. But unfortunately, it all goes wrong. The story of Animal Farm reveals how the Russians were mocked by the Tsar. The Tsar is the supreme male monarch or the supreme political position to create a classless society, which means the Russian people are deceived and believed their rulers that they will live equal members in their society. During the Soviet Union, abbreviated as USSR, which stands for Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. How does Orwell manipulate his satire? Actually, Orwell manipulates his satire through a number of techniques. Number one, uh, Orwell manipulates animal stereotypes. By stereotypes, we mean a typical representation. It means his choice of animal to represent different historical figures or ideas in a satirical manner. For instance, the dream of old Major is the idea of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, Dark Capital, to create a utopian state. The Seven Commandments are symbolic for the manifesto of a Bolshevik party headed by Lenin, one of the leading figures of the revolution. The change of man or form into animal form is the alteration of the name of USSR. The anthem Beast of England, or the song, the national song Beast of England, is the anthem of Communist Party. Napoleon, the pig, represents Stalin in reality, while Snowball, the pig of animal form, represents Leon Trotsky in reality. Comrade Napoleon, as he insisted other animals called him, represents Joseph Stalin, a cruel leader during the revolution who exiled other political leaders and forced mass executions or public punishments upon the people, just as Napoleon does in Orwell's fable. Snowball's struggle to teach the animals literacy or how to read and write stands for the efforts of Trotsky during the 5 years of reform. Napoleon uses the dogs, which represent or symbolizes the KGB or the secret agency of Russia, to scare or to spread fear among the Russian people in order to obey him and follow his orders. The sheep, a kind of submissive and maybe stupid animals, are used to represent the public as an unthinking mob. Boxer, the horse, stands for the proletarian, who are hard-working, naive, and keeping work regardless who the ruler is. Boxer died saying, "Napoleon is always right." Moses, the raven, stands for the Orthodox Church, refusing any revolutionary change, promising animals with sugar candy mountain, or thinking only in the afterlife, forgetting about their reward in this life. Benjamin stands for those who are unaffected by the revolution. Molly, the female horse, stands for those who fled the country in 1917, for she is a spy. Cats are the opportunists that can change every now and then. Orwell, in his satire, uses political allegory. By political allegory, we mean that some of the events of the story refer to real political events. Here, the animal form, represents Russia. World events are reduced to the level of a farm yard. The German invasion of Russia is shown here as the Battle of the Windmill. Also, the Battle of the Cowshed is the Civil War, the Russian Civil War. Of course, between the Red Army and the White Army. The death of Snowball is the death of Trotsky, or the assassination of Trotsky by Stalin with the help of the secret agency. Of course, Stalin got rid of Trotsky because of their mutual struggle on power. Stalin started trade with Germany and Britain as Napoleon traded with other farm owners as Pilkington and Frederick. All the rules of the commandments are violated or broken or not followed, and many animals are slaughtered or killed, a matter which refer to the moral practices or the bad deeds of the Bolshevik society. Of course, the movement animalism stands for communism. Orwell uses another technique, which is ridicule or making fun of some figures. By ridicule, we mean that reducing well-known political figures to the level of farmyard animals. Instead of Stalin, we have a pig called Napoleon, and so on. Here, Orwell trivializes and ridicules his targets. For example, Napoleon the Black Cockerel or Young Rooster and the poems composed in his honor are seen as ludicrous, contrary to the effect of grandeur and power for which Napoleon strives or seeks. Orwell also uses irony. By irony, we mean contradiction between appearance and reality, or contradiction between expectation and reality. According to all the majors' words, the animals believe that man is their major enemy. And as soon as they remove man from the scene, their life will be happy. Of course, this is what the animals think at the beginning. However, the pigs prove to be more dictators than man. Stalin ruled by fear, as does Napoleon, creating a specter in Snowball and suggesting that if the animals don't cooperate fully, that the humans will return. The irony, of course, is that in the end, the animals can't distinguish the pigs from the humans, as the pigs walk on their hind legs, drink alcohol, wear clothes, and sleep in beds. Language is used as a tool of imposing power. Animal form satirizes politicians, specifically their rhetoric, which means the art of using language, especially public speaking, as a means to persuade. Which means, in a more simple way, or another word, that politicians try to use sweet words in order to convince people, the public people, of their own points of view, while in fact this is just hypocrisy and telling lies. By this manipulation of language, they exploit others. The pigs impose more control while reserving privileges for themselves. This is apparent through the character of Squealer, the pig, which represents media, who can turn black into white by means of language. He can convince the public that what they can see as black is in fact white. This is by the power of his use of his language. The 7 commandments are changed through play on words. For example, in the beginning, we have the commandment, all animals are equal. This commandment is changed into all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The pigs slowly but surely break all of 7 commandments laid out by Old Major. Orwell's dialogue also hints at his satirical intent or aim or target. The animals speak in crisp, brief sentences of slavish devotion. For instance, I'll work harder, and Napoleon is always right. Whereas the leader's dialogue is entirely partly slogans, forward comrades, and all animals should go naked. Finally, Orwell's point that the pigs are really just the same as the human tyrants they replaced is expressed at the end of the novel, as the pigs mingle with humans to the extent that it becomes impossible to distinguish between them and the humans. Orwell satirizes totalitarian regimes or system of rule based on dictatorship. His satire employs stereotypes, irony, ridicule, mockery, and misuse of language and allegory. This is the end of this video. Thanks for watching and goodbye.